Hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It's Nigel once again, and welcome back to the Labyrinth. So, as always, I got some poetry for you guys today, and I know I said it every time, but I really mean what I technically mean it every time, but especially this time, I think you guys are really gonna enjoy these ones. Of course, as always, if this is your first episode of Nigel Dixie's Test from Labyrinth, welcome. If not, welcome back. But if you are indeed new here, what we do for the most part, with some exceptions, is we read poetry. We read and analyze poetry. We analyze the meaning, or at least the interpretations of myself. Although, please, feel free to put your interpretations in the comments below, as well as leaving a like and subscribe if this is your kind of thing. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So this first one's called A Fool's Errand. An endless quest, a wild goose chase, a troubled search, a longing and desire for something that I want but may never truly have. So, I know probably quite a few of you have been in that situation where you're chasing after something, you want something, you're longing for something, you keep chasing after something in your life, and it can be different for a lot of people. For some people, it's love. For some people, it's companionship. For some people, it's monetary. For some people, it's family. He's something that you chase after, but that sometimes you don't quite get it. You don't quite obtain it, so it feels like a fool's errand. Now, when people say fool's errand, that normally means something that's unobtainable. Like, well, you're doing something to try to achieve a goal, and you're doing something that will never truly have a completion. Thus, it's a fool's errand. It's an errand, and for a fool, it's an errand that you're never gonna be able to complete. And some things that we chase after in life, and we don't quite get it. That's what it feels like sometimes, of course. But this next one is called art. They say art is subjective, and that may be the case, as art comes in many forms: music, movies, paintings, drawings, various forms of expression, meant to be interpreted a certain way, or maybe in a different way. Art is freedom, freedom to express yourself and your feelings. Art is passion, love, and care placed into every intricate detail. Art is expression, being able to show the world who you are. Now, this poem I have read a couple times actually on Nigel Tales from Labyrinth, and because I think, and not to toot my own horn, but I think it does, I think it does a pretty decent job explaining away what art is, and that art truly does come in many forms. For everyone, their art may be different, and for some people, art is like traditional art, like paintings, drawings, things like that. For some people, art is music. Like, they're singing, they're rapping, what have you. Who for some people it's their movie. They say the artistic direction of the director and his movie. Especially when it comes to certain directors, they shoot certain scenes certain ways for a reason. And Art is expression. Or the great thing about art is that art doesn't have one singular definition. For a lot of people, their art is different, and they express themselves and they show themselves in a number of different ways. A lot of people feel that poetry is art, and I definitely agree. So whatever art you have, in whatever form you have it, whether it be paintings, whether it be drawings, whether it be a movie, uh, whether it be a poem, whether it be a song, any way that you can express yourself, I definitely recommend doing so. Oh, even if not a whole lot of eyes will see it, someone will, and someone may very well be inspired by your art, and it'll inspire them to create art of their own. Either that, or you get to show someone a side of yourself. And how can I forget? For some people, art is cooking, and a lot of people love to cook. I love to cook as well. So art comes in many different ways. So whatever your art is, whatever your artistic expression is, whatever expresses yourself, show it off, and be proud of it. It's your art. Be proud of your art. Be proud of your work. Or don't let anybody, try to discredit and discount your work. Show your work. Show your artistic expression, because art is subjective. They say, and that very much is the case. Art comes in a lot of different interpretations, a lot of different shapes and sizes. So whatever your art is, show off your art and be proud of it. Be proud of your art. unless it's Rule 34 art. But nevertheless, this next poem is called Beauty. I've seen beauty in many forms when I step outside and I see the flora and fauna in life, either renewed after being lost or new life being created in love and happiness shared between people and reconciliation as people come back together. In the sun, both as it rises and as it sets. I've seen beauty, and you can too, if you grab a mirror and look at what you see. Now cue the awe in 5, 4, 3, 2. There we go. But I feel like this one and the one before it, the art, kind of goes hand in hand with each other, because just like there's various different forms of art, there's very different forms of beauty. They say beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and beauty comes in a lot of different shapes and sizes for a lot of people. There's physical beauty, physical attraction. There's inner beauty, a person's personality. There's beautiful art. There's beauty in nature. There's beauty in people and relationships and even in some situations, as twisted as it may be. And there's beauty within you, and there's definitely beauty in a very good pepperoni pizza, of course. But beauty comes in many different forms. Oh, uh, so share your beauty as well, because you are beautiful. You are, you know. But this next one is called Morning Hot and Windless. This is by Phoebe Giannisi and translated by Brian Sneeden. And if I'm mispronouncing any of these names, I do apologize. But spread out along the olive tree like a drawn bow, my back against the tree, my abdomen against the sky, hands uplifted, feet open to winds, suspended in the world, while everywhere hear the endless drone of cicadas in chorus. Alone I strove away from the others, for hours splitting the air, with my strange and sad desires keen. O sea of olives and noonday stone, above the bright sea of goats out, to the shining Aegean, farther out, to the horizon's secret end. And so, quite a bit of imagery there, and of course you know how I love my imagery. But kind of painting a picture of where we are. We see the narrator here, and the reason I call them the narrator, not necessarily Phoebe herself, is mainly because oftentimes what you can do, in not just poetry, but in storytelling and writing in general, there is obviously the first person, but also the third person, and oftentimes the author can separate themselves from the narrator or protagonist. It's now oftentimes the author will inject themselves, some parts of their personality into the narrator or the protagonist, and sometimes, and in some cases, the author is the narrator slash protagonist. Is especially when things are autobiographical, of course. But for this one, and we see the world around Phoebe. For argument's sake, we'll say that Phoebe is the narrator here. That the narrator is Phoebe. So this is Phoebe and her experiences. We see the world around her. We see the cicadas. We see the wind, and we see her walking through. And we see her kind of strolling where she is being a part of nature, kind of walking through. And this part here, with my strange and sad desires keen, what's on her mind, and seeing all this beautiful nature around, but strange and sad desires. What's going on there? What is she thinking about? What's on her mind? That's kind of I see this beautiful environment around her, but her mind is elsewhere, and that oftentimes happens where things are going on around us, but our minds are elsewhere. We're thinking about other things, and so what could she be thinking about? How we see either surrounding, but then also the juxtaposition of Phoebe here, with what's going on in her mind, what she's thinking about, versus what's going on around her, the sky, the winds, the cicadas, the trees, and everything. And what is she thinking about? How does it relate to the world around her? And I do like how it is open-ended. Like open-ended poems I do like, because it does leave it open to interpretation, and it allows people to kind of fill in the blanks with their own interpretation how they view things. It allows people to really think for themselves and to come up with their own conclusions. And maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. But that's the beauty of poems like that. But this last one is called "The Flowery Memories." This is by Jesus Papoletov Melendez. And again, if I mispronounce any of these names, I do apologize. But it also looks like this dedicated to Susanna Foster and Dr. Willie Petrie. If some nice person were to be walking by the front of my house and would pick a flower from the breast of my small garden, I would notice every single one that would be missing. I would be able to notice their long necks broken and their juices gathered up at the tips of their wounds, like teardrops, brightly as fresh bleeding blood. Oh, all the surviving flowers would turn their heads in dread, crying soft petals on the faces of the grass. All the bees of the universe would pass by with their grief. The wind would blow sadly the memory of their smells, as butterflies would go in a hurry, fluttering the sad news to their friends, just like, quite suddenly, one lonely, long and lonesome night on which you've tossed and turned inside your head, fearing that in a dream, just now, you felt someone you love is far, thus they may be dead. In the great distance of your late mother's love, across the vast field where your father's past would call, rippling wind and wider away forever, fading in a pond, where you once so merrily played your youth away. Oh, all the kisses and the pretty girl's faces now gone, and the utter restlessness that transforms midnight's dawn. You see the shadows passing by. Goodbye, from earth to the sky, to be with their God. So a couple things going on here. For starters, not just a bit more of the imagery, but also some personification where you give human elements to non-living things. Here, picking the flower, and essentially treating it like you're killing nature itself, and that the flower's dead, and that the bees are crying, the flowers are crying because their flower friend is now dead. Which, man, that makes me feel bad about all the plants I've picked up and stuff like that, right from the roots. But then this part, are connecting it back to us as humans. So taking the human elements given to the, well, technically non-human things, I should say. I shouldn't necessarily say non-living things because plants obviously live, but the non-human things. It's taking it back and bringing it back to us, where just like the flowers lost their friend because someone picked them up from the garden, and we may have lost people from our past, but now they're going up, and you see this part, goodbye from earth to the sky to be with their God. So going up, of course, if you believe in God and everything, but then obviously the person that's no longer with us is going up. They're no longer with us, but they're moving on to the great beyond. And same with the plants. So tying the two things together, the plants that you seemingly may not think twice about picking up from the gardens, and taking my light out. There we go. Taking the plant that is no longer living because you picked it from the ground, and then taking the people that we lost and kind of joining them together and tying them together to show the similarities between us and plants. That just like plants, we've lost people. We've lost people that are close to us, but we like to think that they're, of course, in a better place, and they're not suffering anymore. And I remember that's what my dad told me after my grandmother passed away. She passed away in 2014, and his way of comforting me was mentioning how she's no longer suffering. My grandmother was very ill when she passed, as that she's no longer suffering, she's no longer feeling any pain. Now she's in a much better place. So kind of taking that same idea and applying it to this poem. So it's very interesting how it was done. So just like the flower, hers, and it is shown in a very morbid way, but then almost kind of in a sweet way, showing that we've lost people as well. But also saying that in a dream. So kind of how we view things, we like to think that The people who are no longer with us are, of course, in those better places. But nevertheless, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video so you can see as the drops. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on this episode, these poems. I just like these poems, just like my analysis of these poems, and what is your take on these poems and your reaction to them. And we got quite a bit going on this week, so definitely stay tuned. But thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Peace.